Welcome to the CLI Essentials miniseries, today with Git. And I data mined my Zish history and found out that those are the 10 commands that I use in Git most of the time, every day. These 10 commands will cover 95% of what you're ever going to do with Git. And today in this video, we're going to cover what is Git, a quick run through of the most important commands, a quick demo to show you a real world Git workflow, so to speak, that I use every day in my day job. And at the end, you're going to get a little bonus from me. This is the final episode of the CLI Essentials miniseries, so let's bring it home. Before we start, I assume you already have a basic understanding of Git and how it works, most likely from VS Code or whatever IDE you're using so far. You've clicked commit or push or sync or maybe even resolve the merge conflict or something like that, so you kind of have an idea what it's doing. This episode is about bringing that same workflow to the command line so we actually understand what those buttons are doing behind the scenes. So as always, you get a document from me, but before we run through the actual run through, let's talk real quick what is Git. Git is a version control system. It's a timeline for your code basically. Every commit is a snapshot in time and Git lets you navigate through them. And that is it. So let's go through the commands since we're going to see everything in action later anyways. Number 1, git clone. Git clone lets you copy a remote repository locally. With git status, you check what's changed. With git add, you decide what's going to go into the current commit before you actually do the git commit. Git commit lets you save those changes as a snapshot with a commit message. We're going to see that later too. Once you're done with all the changes and all the commits, you do a git push to upload your commits to the remote repository to later download it from the remote repository to the machine with a git pull. With git branch, you create or list the branches you have in your current repository, and with git checkout, you navigate between those branches. Git restore lets you revert everything you added so far to the current commit with git add before you're committing. And with git log, you see what has been committed so far. Demo time. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to create a remote repository in my little GitHub clone right here that I host myself, and I go to new repository and I give it git demo as a name, and I make this one private, and then I just create this one. And now you see that I get the clone URL right away. I just copy this one, go back to my machine 1 where I have my git demo folder ready already, and I do a git clone right here. Git clone, paste this one, and now it's cloned. I could just cd into git demo right here. So the first thing that I can observe is that I have my little main branch right here. And this is because I installed Zish already. Zish gives you the git branch once you're in a git repo. And then we see that we're in a git repo because we have the git folder right here. And inside the git folder, we have all the git stuff, basically, that we're going to cover later, at least a little bit. So let's go up again. And I don't want to work in main. I want to work in a feature branch. In order to do so, I go git checkout -b for checkout the branch, and I go feature 1. Boom. This is my feature branch right now. But I still have no files here. So I'm going to add some files, but before I'm going to add those files, I'm going to add the git ignore. And in .NET, you can do this easily. You can do a .NET new git ignore. And what this is doing, if I go vim, and I open the git ignore, then you see that I have all the stuff here that I don't want to check in. And we're going to see later why this is useful. For now, this is enough. And we can add some code for console application with .NET new console. .NET new console means, and there we go, git demo. Boom. If I go now git status, then you see I have untracked files. These are the files that I didn't add with git add. I even get a hint here. Use git add doop-de-doop-de-doo to include what will be committed. So git actually guides you through the workflow. And we can therefore move on and do a git add to stage everything we changed so far to the current commit. Okay? With a dot means everything. If I do a git status now, then you see we have staged files. And we have a little star here next to our branch that indicates that we have some changes. So let's actually create a snapshot of those changes by doing a git commit. Git commit -m init project. If we do git status again, then you see there's no changes. Because there's no changes to be committed. And the star disappeared. So everything perfect for now. We could do a git push. But before we do that, if I open the project with Vim, boom, then I show all the files. I go to the git demo. Then you see I have the object folder and my program CS. Nothing more, right? If I go now and I cd into my git demo to do a .NET build eventually, boom, 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 you see two things. You see, number one, we have a new folder right here. And you see, number two, there is no star. There is no star. We don't have, if we do git status now, git status. Oh, let me close everything. Git status. You see, there's nothing. And this is because we added the git ignore before, right? Nvim git ignore. Then you see somewhere down here, yeah, everything that is in the debug public, release, or everything that is inside object or bin is gonna be ignored, and that is beautiful. Because you don't want to track all the files with Git. You only want to track the files you're actually coding in with Git. And you don't want to track the files you build, because your build results can actually get really, really, really big, and you don't want to track them. You don't want to keep the version of them in Git. And that is why we add the git ignore. So let's go back and push some commits. So now I'm going to do a git checkout main locally, and then do a git merge of feature 1 into main. And then you see the changes that we just merged over. So now main and feature 1 have the same state, right? If I go no L, I see that's the git demo, and if I cd into that, I can do .NET build, because there's something in there. And now that we merge our feature branch into main, we can delete the feature branch locally, like so. Git branch -d feature 1, and boom, there's gone. But it's only gone locally. In order to delete the branch from the remote repository, we have to do this. We have to do a git push origin -- delete feature 1. And boom, there it's gone. If I go now to the website, it says 4.4 because branch feature 1 doesn't exist anymore, but we still have the main branch, right? But in order to see something here, we have to push the main branch as well, right? So I go back, say git push from main. And there we have it. So now let's say I have another machine, machine 2, and I do a git clone again from that other machine of my git demo, okay? Then it would cd into the git demo, boom, and I see that I have the current state of my branch, right? If I go back now to machine 1, same branch, and I say I change something. Program CS, and I do hello world with 2 exclamation marks. And I do again git add, git commit, maybe yeah, update console. I do git push into my remote repository so I see the actual change. Let me see update console, the latest commit. Then I go back to my machine 2, and now I can do a git fetch. Git fetch. And then I would see with a git status that it says your branch is behind by 1 commit. And in order to change that, I just do a git pull, boom, and I'm up to date, right? Now if I'm from my machine 2, open the program CS, then I see 2 exclamation marks, right? The latest state that just has been pushed into my repository from machine 1, right? And of course, from here, I could also just repeat the whole cycle and do a git check out minus B feature 2, and then repeat the whole thing, right? So I know I promised you a bonus, and here it is. What I really like about Git is the feature Git work tree, and what it does is it enables you to check out multiple branches at the same time. Example, I cannot work on feature 2 and main within the same directory. It's just not possible. I can only work one branch at a time. But you can change that with Git work trees. So, but first let me push this one right here. Git push. Same thing again. Same thing again. Copy, paste, boom. Now if I go git branch, I see my 2 branches, right? But when I go to documentation, I see somewhere here, boom, boom, boom. I have the hint, avoid using git worktree add from short-living branches. Your feature branch is a short-living branch. So what I do now, I'm going to check out main, git checkout main, and from here on I do a git worktree add. And as you see, the syntax is git worktree add target. Let's go super lazy. Let's go super lazy. Boom, copy this one. And the target directory is usually 1 or 2, whatever we want. Directories upwards. So I go 1 upwards and I say feature 2. And the branch I want to check out for that is, of course, feature 2. And now what happened, if I open this with NeoVim now, boom, NeoVim, and I go to the Git directory, and I have the work trees now. And inside my work trees, you see I have a work tree for feature 2. And that means, although being in different directories, the branches are tracked by Git. So I can now move up, and I see I have somewhere the feature 2 here. And if I go now into feature 2, like so, feature 2, boom, then you see that just because I switched the directory, all of a sudden I'm in feature 2. And if I go up and navigate into what do I have here? Git demo, then I'm feature 1. Excuse me, feature main. This is Git worktrees. Very, very handy. And the way to remove them, of course, is Git worktree remove, and then just the target directory. And I think the name was feature 2. And now if I go again into the worktree directory, yeah, it's gone. See that? Git remove worktree, remove the directory, and also remove the worktree registration. So we're clean now. So as I said, this was the last episode of the CLI Essentials miniseries. As I said, Essentials. There's a further reading section right here where you see there's Git hooks, automated tasks before and after Git actions. There's also Git submodules to keep other Git repos inside your Git repo. And you have the rebase mechanism and much, much more. I highly recommend you check out those links and you get good in Git. There's loads, terabytes of content on YouTube and everywhere else for this stuff right here. But for now, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the series. I hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, hyped to move on to the workflow videos. See you in the next one. Papa.